Okay, so recently it seems like some hololive fans have actually been getting down and finding out that someone has been trying to use Gura's model, right? And this is a pretty interesting one because obviously, if you don't know, Gawr Gura obviously graduated, member of hololive, been away for a little while now. It seems like obviously some people have been, trying to, I guess, profit off the absence of her by making their own kind of streams with her in it, which I think is a little bit odd. Now, obviously, yeah, people saying I was scrolling through TikTok and I stumbled upon this person using Gawr Gura's model. Please help me in reporting this. Sorry if this is against the rules. I just hate to see someone using her model and profiting from it. This stream is in Spanish. So yeah, this is the kind of model here. You can see it's one of Gura's models. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting because obviously this is a live stream over on TikTok. They have only 4 viewers there. But they also, it says may contain AI generated content, which I do think is interesting, because I don't know if the actual model itself is AI generated, because it does look very similar to, Gura's model, but maybe that's what they did to kind of replicate that. Now, again, they don't have a video of the actual model here itself, so I don't know if it's moving. I don't know if they're actually tracking it or not. But again, that could be the case, or if it is literally just a PNG of Gura. I think if it's just a PNG, it's less bad, but obviously if people were trying to impersonate her or trying to pretend to be her in any way, then obviously that's when things can get a little bit bad, right? And obviously people saying seems like a really fast way to get a cease and desist notice from the company that doesn't F around with this stuff. And yeah, of course, they say hololive is a Japanese company after all. They say not only that, but they are by far the most aggressive whenever it comes to lawsuits. They say Disney versus Nintendo, the strongest of the West versus the strongest of the East, which obviously that'd be quite crazy to see. But obviously they say you can report them right here, obviously sending them the Cover Corp report link. Then Cover has recently gone after similar copyright infringements and impersonation cases recently from information they received from reports. They said, thank you, I just reported them to Cover. So yeah, obviously that is great. And hopefully the Cover do take a look at that and try to get it taken down, because of course that isn't great, especially if they're trying to impersonate them, right? They say the swift hammer of Cover Corporation will grind their bones, report them to Cover. They come down heavy on IP theft. They say, tell me you don't shuffle your hammers without telling me you don't shuffle your hammers. They say, how the heck did they even get their hands on it? They say it's AI generated. The model has a few artifacts of AI scuff on it. Yeah, it did kind of look like that, mostly on the trident. They said, I don't get it, man. AI can make all sorts of things. Why not tell it to make Blur the Shark, give her a new outfit and make it ever so slightly legally distinct? Unless the goal is literally to get sued into oblivion, then I don't see why they don't just go for the take this image but change it slightly. It's probably easier than making a one-to-one copy anyways. Not saying that they should, obviously. And obviously, I do think this is one of these kind of cases where I don't think, their plan was to create an original VTuber model that was like inspired by Gura, because obviously some people will do that, right? Gura's got a very, very popular model, right? So of course people are going to be inspired to maybe make a similar one, right? But that is not the case in this kind of, case, because it seems like they're just straight up trying to impersonate her, which obviously is much worse. Now, I found 2 accounts on TikTok with a similar name. Obviously, it started with Neko and it ended with like SHA, which I think they're related because they at each other, which I think, is a little bit strange. And they also both, I'm pretty sure this is both Spanish as well. So again, these are the 2 accounts here, Neko Sharkita. And of course, they post a lot of Gawr Gura edits and images and stuff like that. Now, again, I don't know what they're saying because obviously I don't speak Spanish, so I couldn't really tell you. But of course, it seems like they are a big fan of Gura. They're not just like kind of, doing it because they don't know who she is or, whatever. That 100% is not the case. And of course, it seems like they have been kind of posting about that. Now, I don't know which of these accounts is the one that is actually doing it. I feel like it could be this one. Obviously, this one has the same profile picture as the original image, which obviously, that made me think it was them. But the thing that made me think it wasn't them is the fact that they've only got 918 followers. And usually you need 1,000 followers to live stream on TikTok, unless they maybe recently changed the rules, which made me think that maybe it's this one due to the fact of it having the pretty much exact same name and obviously 1,500 followers, which would allow them to live stream. So again, it could be for those. So definitely just keep an eye out for it. They say, likely not the actual model. Tell an AI to watch a couple of Gawr Gura streams and they could probably spit out something usable. They say there's been multiple Gura voice filters in the past, and some small streamers have used them. Fortunately, AI wasn't as good as it was nowadays, so they sounded bad, and people didn't pay attention from them. They say, yeah, Gura, Ame, Bibu, and Mume all were the final bosses for voice AI because they all have very weird, distinctive speech patterns and tones. Some like Crony and Kali and Iris were pretty much spot on for AI attempts, but I think there still aren't really any that handle Gura, Ame, and Mume. They pause between worlds before speeding up. So yeah, absolutely. The risk of sounding like I'm on a soapbox. I say climbing onto my soapbox. AI made me realize just how much personality is in how someone uses their voice rather than how they just sound, which yeah, I do think is true, right? You can definitely get some things. Some people saying you can literally get the PNG straight from the hololive website. This is the one. And yeah, you can do that, right? You can get the PNGs. Now, I don't know if this is the case of, they've, kind of used the PNG to just like stick it there and maybe talk with the PNG in the background, which I think, maybe this could be a misunderstanding, right? This could be just a fan from what we're seeing. They post a lot of Gawr Gura content, right? They definitely do like, her in a sense. So maybe they're just like putting an image of her and just speaking about her, right? Again, as I said, I haven't seen the stream footage, so I don't know if they're like genuinely trying to pretend to be her on the stream, or if they are literally just a fan and they are chatting about her, because that could also be the case, right? It's just like sticking any other VTuber PNG there. Obviously, people know it's not her. They know it's a fan that maybe just doesn't want to show their face or whatever, and maybe they're just talking about her or talking about literally anything, right? Because they just enjoy, her content. But of course, I don't know. It could be like a kind of big, plethora of things in terms of like what is actually going on with this live stream and what their plan is. But, it definitely is concerning, though, to say the least, because, of course, there is definitely a chance that there could be some kind of impersonation going on, which would not be good for, anybody, right? And, of course, I'm sure hololive will take action against that, right? They say hololive provide the models of holomem to the community. That's why they're so funny, man. So that's why there are so many funny fan-made videos of them. Maybe this Gura model was there at some point. So they say, yeah, I see only the base models were generally available to the public and some exceptions, and they were only 3D models, not the live 2D ones. So they're saying like essentially you can get the 3D models for some of the members for like doing some MMD like animations and stuff. But again, that isn't what we're seeing there. It looks like a PNG or like some kind of live 2D thing. So again, even if, they are publicly available, obviously I'm sure it states somewhere that you can't use them to impersonate them or anything like that. But they say MMD models are neutered versions of the ones that they use for 3D. MMD is entirely free and there's an absolute ton of assets and plugins. The software is almost 20 years old and barely requires a potato laptop to run by modern standards. The live may contain AI generated content. Yeah, that ain't gonna float well, buddy. So yeah, obviously have people pointing that factor out. But yeah, I do think it is just another one of those cases where someone is probably more than likely trying to get attention by using another VTuber's model. It has happened before, right? We've covered so many impersonation attempts, whether it's through VR chat with the whole Zentraya thing, or whether it's through TikTok Live like this with Gawr Gura. It seems like people just want to, gain the attention and gain the popularity that they had by trying to impersonate them online. But yeah, I mean, that is essentially all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStops, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.